it. You already know what it is. Live, uncut, unedited. Tell the truth and shame the devil. All right, come on in, people. This is live, uncut, unedited. Come on in. We got a great show today. Come on in. We have a great show today. I guarantee you would not be disappointed. We got a lot to talk about, people. Make sure you share the video, share the live, tag someone. And if you're not following me on YouTube, you're welcome to follow me on YouTube, Martin G. Johnson, One Faith, One Fold. Follow me, subscribe to my videos. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Come on in, come on in. This is live, uncut, unedited. It's where we tell the truth. Okay. All right. All right. All right. We got a great discussion today. All right. Great discussion. Great discussion, people. All right. Don't forget to leave your boy some stars now. You know, hey, it is what it is. Every little bit helps, but we're not begging. You know, we don't beg here. Definitely don't beg. But if you bless your boy, hey, that's okay. That's all right. I'm not mad at nobody. This is live, uncut, unedited. For real. Mm-hmm. All right, come on in, people. Come on in. We need about 100 people total. We got the background music going. That's Amina Daniels. All right, I hear you. I see you. Candy Apple. All right. Xavier Dates. Valisa Lewis. All right. Karen Crosley Martin. How you doing? Sharice Wright. All right. Ronnie Johnson. Linda Lashley Gardner. All right. Don Tillman. All right. Philip Howard. Deborah Singleton. All right. We coming on here. Ray. Can't pronounce that last name, but Nathan. All right. Miss Pendleton. Lanisha. All right. All right. Corethia Williams. All right. Keith Johnson. This is a great, interesting subject today. Kimberly Henderson. What's going on, Kimberly? Maisha Smith. What's going on? All right. That Keenwin, most definitely. Ronnie Johnson. Okay. Tammy Have Faith Myers. All right. Letitia Longmire. Patricia Robinson. Xavier Dakes. Sherry Sutton. Come on, people. This is live. We need some more people. Make sure you share. Let me share it on my page. This is live, uncut. You already know what it is. Live, uncut, unedited. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know exactly what it is. Y'all know exactly what it is. We're here today to make it happen. I'll tell you. All right. They said the tornado was coming. Tornado watch. All right. Well, let's watch it come. Lord, keep us safe from the storm. All right, this live, uncut, unedited. Because once I get
You already know
started,
what it
they're going to want me
is.
to go back.
Live,
And I ain't going back
uncut,
for none of them.
unedited.
Summer Ann, what's going on? Got some Belize on here. Eddie, what up, Eddie? I love being black.
I love being black.
Mhm. All right. Yeah, we just we're gonna get to rolling in a minute, people. We're gonna get to rolling in a minute. All right, let me kill this music. Not me, the music. Oh wow. All right, I was killing myself. All right, people, let's get started. We're not gonna wait on nobody. And we're definitely taking calls. We're taking calls. All right, just checking everything. Make sure everything's on. We're gonna roll what it is. This is already what it is. All right. Let me get the screen sharing up here. And so you guys know what we're talking about. There's an article out here, and we want to share it. All right. We want to share the article. Hold on. Let's get the article rolling. Get it on here. Let's get the article up here. That's me. Here's the article right here. We got two articles. Actually, it's two in one. So, all right. Hopefully, you guys can see the article. Let me make sure you guys can see it. If you can't see it, I'm going to read it for you. All right. All right. Woke Yale physician says all doctors should be forced to wear body cams so they can be punished if they are racist after claiming she stood and watched black teens black teen die in the ER as white colleagues chuckled. Lord have mercy. Ain't that some people? Mm, mm, mm. That is terrible. Let me read that again. Now, I didn't make this up. You can look it up. You can Google all that. It says, woke Yale physician says all doctors should be forced to wear body cams so they can be punished if they are racist after claiming she stood and watched black teen die in the ER as white colleagues chuckled. My, my, my. Mm, mm, mm. Isn't that terrible, people? That's terrible. That is so terrible, people. That is terrible. That is terrible. That's terrible. I think I got my partner on here. Is that Vera? We got a call. Partner, 4703. Oh, that's Dr. Sanders.
That's me, Dr.
Oh, that's Dr. Sanders. Okay, Dr. Sanders, how you doing? I'm sorry. I knew the number looked familiar.
Hey.
All right. I know we got two-part subject today, so we're going to deal with this, the first part of it. But if you'd like to comment, go ahead. More welcome to listen to your comments.
Well, when you talk about this doctor situation, you know, HIPAA privacy law says that nothing can be shared, you know, monitored. If a doctor wears the body cam, of course, that would be violating the rights of the patient. But I do know that it's very unprofessional to make fun of anybody, you know, that is going through anything, you know, especially with healthcare. Me being or having to have cancer, breast cancer, not that I was insensitive, but I had a wonderful team, HEMOC oncology team, that supported and cared for me as I should have been.
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Sanders. Doc, are you on the speakerphone or call some?
I'm on my phone.
Yeah, speakerphone. You got me on loud mic. Because okay, because it's like a choppy. It's choppy. It's not fluent, but okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's choppy. I wanted to be flow.
Okay.
I wanted to flow. Okay. Because you got a lot of people listening in. Want them to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. Post your the video back up again.
No, not right now, Dr. Sanders. We're dealing with this first. We're dealing. I
No,
want
no,
this.
no, no. That's what I'm talking about with the doctor. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah. The Dr. Sandy one, yeah.
Okay. It's up.
Yeah, because I sent it to a lot of people. Yeah. You know, this is for me to have read this, you know, in the ER. For those of you all, I want to say this, that are working in ER or the clinic. You treat patients with dignity, no matter what race you are. They ask you when you apply for these jobs, where your heart is at. Are you for real? Or are you in this field to make money? To see a teenager die in the ER and white colleagues are chuckling about it, you should not be in medicine, period. You need to be disbarred. Because human life is important. God gave the life. Yes, you go to school to learn all of what you need to know of the human body, and the human body is still a mystery. But this is insensitive, embarrassing, disrespectful, because if it comes in your family as somebody black or somebody from Puerto Rico, Indonesian, laugh at your family member that died, would you want the same thing to happen to you? That's real talk, Martin.
It sounds like what it sounds like to me. It sounds like somebody's playing God. They're playing the judge, juror, and execution. That's what it sounds like to me. That's exactly what it sounds to me. And thank God for 1 out of a million that's working in healthcare that stood up against this thing. And they couldn't take it no more.
Yeah.
And you know, and I know a lot of people work on these jobs, so they got to hold a level of I would say a silence, cold as silence. But it's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to decide what's right or your job. And this is human life. And I tell young men, those of you that's about that life, and I might sound stereotype what I'm about to say, that have all them tattoos on your face and all on your arms and stuff like that, and gang slogans and all that, pistols on your face, knives and all that has a play, especially if you're black. You're going into these hospitals, and a lot of them not going to save you. They're not going to give you their all because of hatred, and it shouldn't be like that. I'm telling you, and a lot of it is based on your insurance, and they know most of the time when somebody come in with all them tattoos and all over their face and their body, that they probably don't have no insurance. And I'm just being serious. And some of these hospitals, let me say this, Doctor, I'll let you go. Some of these hospitals will let you die and send you home and doctor you up and send you home because your insurance cannot cover what they want to service you. That's what I want to say. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders.
When you let me go in this area, Martin, and I'm gonna slice it as much as I can. When you all go into the ER, you run into individuals as myself. We're either called patient access specialists or we're called case specialists. When you come in to see the doctor in the ER, you present your medical card. They use a system called Epic, which uploads all of your information and it pulls from all of the insurance company's portal as well as the state. So they know what you have. Most of the hospitals require you to do an ER copay outside of the regular copay in the clinic. So when you look at that, you choose these insurances, ask these insurance companies what is covered, because that is the determination of what will be done. And they cannot deny you medical treatment. But ask your doctor, your patient, your private, PCP. What services are you under? A lot of the doctors, Martin, are not under certain Medicaid. They're not under certain top insurance because it's how they get paid. But they cannot deny you the services. You just be billed. If you don't have the knowledge of knowing the type of insurance that you're getting, you will not understand why you're getting a $5 or $6 or $7, $8,000 bill because you don't ask questions. So when you display your card, always keep your insurance card on you, but ask your insurance company, including Medicaid. If you got Millennium, if you got Blue Cross Blue Shield Community Health, whatever you got, ask them to send you the book, and you can read what's covered, including your pharmacy. Okay. Because you can't get mad at those that register you or, how you triage them because they don't make the determination. The prices are already set. It's $2,000 to walk into the emergency room. That's real talk.
Okay, hold it right there. I got another caller.
Go ahead.
Area code 912. 912. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's going on, Martin?
Hey, Sarge, how you doing?
I'm okay. When you see these stories and they start with woke, there's some bullcrap in the game somewhere on the story.
Well, let me ask you a question. What's so bull crap about a person, the doctors snuggling at a person? Why would another physician want to come out and say that? Now, she's a physician. Why would she want to say that?
Because they're woke.
What that means?
It's like BLM. Wasn't that a woke organization? And you see what happened in the end.
Yeah, okay. Everything. Hold on, bro. Hold on.
Okay,
You're going too far now, bro. Listen, brother. Everything about Black Lives Matter BM is not bad. They have done some good work. None of us can deny that. None of us. Now, I'm not a member, never have been a member, and don't desire to be one of BM, Black Lives Matter. But I am Black. So certain things that they have done in this country, it benefited the masses of Black people here in this country. So you can say whatever you want to say. And when I see that word woke, I understand she's standing up for what she believes is right, her morally right. And if she see other physicians sitting there snuggling, whatever, giggling, whatever you want to call it, while a person is dying, a gunshot victim is dying, something is wrong. She should say something. Why that got to be some BS? I don't understand you, bro. We value human life.
I know. If that actually happened, they're very unprofessional in their behaviors. That much is true. But you will find, and this is not a nationality-driven thing, anytime you have somebody come out and it's woke, whatever individual, they got an axe to grind for some reason that has nothing to do with what they're talking about actually. They just found them an end.
So you telling me this woman, this educated woman, come out and said, let me read it what she said. This is what you tell me.
Well, I read the article.
Yale physician says all doctors should be forced to wear body cams. She gave a reason so they could be punished if they are racist. After claiming, she stood and watched Black teens die in the ER as white colleagues chuckled. Now, I couldn't take her word as being a professional that work in the medical field. She witnessed something. I mean, what's woke about that? What's not woke about that? Doctors.
Woke is in the title of the headline, isn't it?
Right. That's not an organization,
so,
brother.
Hey.
I know it's not an organization. She's looking out for her people. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Come on now, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Listen, if you can't look out for your people, something wrong with you. I'm not listening. Everybody look out for their own except Black folks. We always want to be the one to do right by everybody. The black folks. It's the black folks. Black and brown. Brown don't stand up for black people. Period. You got black brothers down there last night. Up there in standing the gap for migrants. Migrants here to replace black people. That's what they're here for. They don't care nothing about no Martin Luther King. But let me get back to the subject, people. If she said what she said it. She spoke out. She got a lot to lose. Why would she lie on her white colleagues? Wouldn't you think it'd be risky for her to do that? If it's a lie? A woman stood, a black woman stood. She witnessed, she said she watched a black teen die in the ER as white colleagues chuckled. That did something to her. That did something to her. This is real. Who else is going to speak up when they see wrong being done to our people in the workplace? Or you just going to get along, go along because you got your nice car in the garage, you got a nice home or nice credit score, everything is going. Listen, none of this stuff belongs to us. It's only on loan. We can't take our education with us. We can't take our credit score with us. We can't take none of our worldly things with us. And I'm going to go a little further than that. Our children are not going with us. This body that got life in it right now is not going with us when we check out this place. People, we're the only people that want to be quiet. Just think about this. Let me give you an example. If Martin Luther King would have only stayed in his hometown and did advocate work, it was a good thing that he traveled around the country, led protests and spoke in different places. He could have just stayed in his own backyard, but he didn't. He decided to branch out. So I got two callers. Hold on, Sarge. I got two callers. 2742.
I believe her. I believe that they talk about us behind our back in every professional that we're in, that they're in, or they have to serve us. I truly believe that. I think that's why it's important for us as Black people to encourage more younger people to go to the medical field, especially have Black doctors, nurses, anybody up in the hospital that's Black like us, because they can oversee and look out for us more. And I'm thankful that she spoke out on that, because it happens more than we think, especially I'm sure at the University of Chicago, it happened a lot.
Yeah, but
I also believe that.
Go ahead.
I also believe that a lot of times when gunshot victims come through there, I believe a lot of them they probably could say, but like you said, it's about money. They can care less.
And let me say this
no
too.
matter how someone live their life, it don't give them the right to not give them good health care.
All right, I got another caller. Hold on, let me get this another caller. I had him on 815 area code. Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I'm talking to you, 815 area code.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Need to turn your audio down. If you had a delay, that means you got me on speakerphone or you got Facebook playing at the same time while you're talking to me. You had to turn it down.
Everything is down and nothing's on speakerphone.
Okay, well, come on, let's talk.
Okay, so it don't have to always be even racism. You just have just a corrupt situation. Because right now I'm in a corrupt situation dealing with some weird stuff.
Okay, hold it right
First
there.
I'm gonna talk about.
Hold it. Well, let me read
this
back.
To do with the hospitals and the doctors.
No. I'm not. I just want to read this right back to you.
Okay.
It said, woke Yale physician says all doctors should be forced to wear body cams so they can be punished if they are racist. After claiming she stood and watched black teen die in ER as white colleagues chuckled. This is what she was talking about. It's clear. It's clear as daylight, plain as daylight. But go ahead. I just want to read that back to you so you know. Go ahead.
That's fine. I can understand English very well. I can read very well too.
No, it ain't a matter of you reading. It's not a matter if you can't read it. I just want to let you know what we're talking about and what topic is. It's pure racism. That's all what it is. That's what we're talking about. I know every situation is not white and black or all situations. I know that. But this particular case right here is spelled out. If that was your son or your daughter, whatever, it didn't have to be from a gunshot, from be a car accident. And they stood by and chuckled as their lifeless body, as they're making a transition. You wouldn't want that for your loved one. No relative. But go ahead, my dear sister.
Not at all.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk. Go ahead.
I do understand, but yeah, it does need to be some accountability for everything. I just wanted to share something that happened to my dad in the hospital. He went in for chest pains. They gave him physical therapy, which made him had a stroke. Okay. So he had a stroke. They dropped him. He hit his head. They ain't telling us none of this. So he started having seizures. So we noticed he had a knot in the back of his head. So the next thing was, after he had the seizures, they trying to figure out now why he having seizures. Well, because you dropped him. So anyway, they puncture him with a needle, and then he had to get a blood transfusion. So he couldn't handle, his body was just out of it. He couldn't handle none of that. He was on breathing machine, wasn't breathing on his own. They just messed him totally up. He went in just for chest pains and never came out. I went in the hospital to visit him. He had there was no restrictions, so you can go at any hour. So when I came to the hospital, they alerted the people that I was coming over there to visit him. So they were aware for some reason. But when I got up there, before I can even go in the room, I can hear my father, like he was choking. You know, he had a tube down his throat, and they were supposed to kind of suction the stuff out for him. So I said, wow, nobody's in there with him. But I can hear his alarm beeping and everything. As I go in there, there's a nurse in the room with him, not doing anything to help him, but she's on the computer looking for a wedding dress because she's getting married. But there was no accountability. My father eventually died. He died maybe 2 weeks after that incident. So yeah, I was just saying, there needs to be accountability for everything, because it's not just racism. It's just don't care, period.
Okay. You don't think, did they volunteer that information to tell you that your father hit the floor? Did they volunteer, or you had to find out?
No, we had to find it out.
Okay, so
you had to find it out on our own.
You don't think that's part of racism? Is it a white facility?
You will see.
Okay. All right.
You will see.
Who runs UFC?
I just feel like it just don't care.
Who?
University of Chicago.
Okay, I know who runs that. Okay, I thought so. All right, I thought so. I hope you got a lawyer.
So,
I hope you got a lawyer.
Hey, and that's the sad part.
Yeah, I hope you got one.
That's the sad part. So that's what happened. So I was just saying, yeah, needs to be accountability, and definitely they need to wear cameras.
I agree. I tell you what.
So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to let you know that it's a lot of stuff going on here in Illinois that's corrupted. So that's just it. I don't know how we're gonna combat that, but that's a serious problem.
One way of combating that is to get our own everything. That's it. That's the one way. We had a black hospital here, the Hyde Park Hospital over there on Stony Island. We had a black hospital closed up. That's one way of compact. Listen, you have some people know they have all the power because they control everything.
Mm-hmm.
They control everything. Anytime you got the power to make a farmer go out of business without selling seeds or genetic seeds, genetic modified seeds, it's terrible. So what do you think racism is? It's hatred. That's all what it is. It's hatred.
Yeah, it's definitely
Let's
hatred.
quit fooling ourselves. It's hatred. Black people don't teach hatred in their home. Anytime a person hates you because of the color of your skin, that's racist. White person, that's racist. They hate black people. And some black people right along with them, they hate each other too.
Exactly. I was waiting on you to say that.
It's hatred. That's what it is. Now, how many more whistleblowers that we can have like that dear sister and speak out on truth? I'm going to tell you another
That's the
thing.
hard part.
Why you think, even in Illinois, they got another, I put it up too, in Illinois, they want to pass a bill for the EMS, the ambulance people, to have body cameras too as well.
They need to. Everybody needs accountability.
Listen.
Because anybody can put something under the rug.
You got some of these EMS people will not come to your house unless they're escorted by a police officer. And that's serious talk. But yet, they ain't giving you no discount on the prices when the ambulance come and get you. I'm telling you. I've heard it. I remember it had to be about 5 or 6 years ago, around New Year's. A baby stopped breathing in Parkway, as we formerly known as O Block. And the fire told the police they're not going there unless they have an escort, police escort. So we talk about a life. This is real.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to talk about this, though, when it comes to black people. They feel like the first thing when we say
they
a black
be in
person,
there then.
when a black person gets mistreated, this is the first thing we say. What did he do? What did she do?
Yep.
What did she do? And I guarantee you, this statement that this sister wrote in this paper or said, is some black people right now on this live and say, what did she do? Why is she saying that? Here's a woman, an educated woman. She's telling you what her eyes have witnessed.
Mm-hmm.
She's telling you. What reason does she have to lie about this?
And I don't even know why somebody would think she's lying.
What reason will she have to lie about this? She can go on every day and still make her money. She probably get hired anywhere. She's a physician. But she's seen it. She couldn't take no more. And she spoke out against it, stood up against it. A lot of us,
that's how it needs to be everywhere.
we get with these white folks on these jobs and we sniggle and giggling, get along, go along, turning our backs on other black people, talking behind the back, all that. And this is what we get. We need more of this. We need more speaking out. And I'm going to tell you, the Chicago and Texas, now in Texas, they have cameras inside of the ambulance. They have cameras in there. And the reason why they have cameras is because it was a case that the ambulance took somebody to the ER face down. That's dirty, people. That's dirty.
Yep.
And you see a lot of people don't know no better. They were, why the ambulance taking so long to go to take off? Now, they do have to stabilize the patient first before they can take off. They do that. I've seen ambulance leave the scene and drive 2 blocks away or maybe a block away from the crime scene and park to the side. Now, what was going on in there? I've seen it more than once, twice, and 3 or 4 times. I can't tell you why did they do that, but I witnessed that with my own eyes. Why is it that black people always got to be the butt of the joke, the wrongdoing? When people do us wrong, the first thing we say, what did we do to deserve this? Why can't it just be people just hateful, just don't like us, hate us, discriminate against us? Dr. Sanders, go ahead.
Well, Martin, at the end of the day, we got a lot to pray for. We really do. In this matter of the medical center, I work in the Bodycam building. So I check a lot of patients that come in. They make sure that the patients, are being seen for their tests and everything that they need. When it comes to talking about somebody in the emergency room, I experienced the worst part at St. Bernard Hospital when I was doing my training. When I was taking care of a young lady that was 17 years old that had AIDS. And they didn't want to touch her because she had AIDS. Well, guess what? I cleaned her up. I just double glove, double gown, and my mask because AIDS is not airborne. And I took care of her. When I cleaned her up, Martin, the next day she saw me, she said, thank you for taking care of me because nobody would touch me. Nobody wanted to wash her. And she needed it bad. I didn't laugh. I didn't chuckle. She was black. Should it be doctors should have, maybe we need to revisit the law of the HIPAA law.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm, my son worked as an EMT, and they had to go in a lot of people's houses that were sick, hands falling off, all kind of things. And he told me months ago, he said, Mom, it's a hard journey to go into people's homes to get these sick people out. And that's real talk.
Mm.
Yes, I'm an employee at the University of Chicago, but my comments does not represent them. But I do know I've had people that had their experiences in a lot of hospitals. Advocates, UC Med, UIC. Most of the low-grade hospitals like South Shore, they don't have a lot of things going on as the others do. Cook County. Cook County was a soap opera. I worked there in the ER. Mm-hmm. We need to pull the bill back together about HIPAA. If we're going to revisit that, and we're entitled to as a nation to do that. So when we see these things happening, it would be fair to go back to Congress and let's revise the HIPAA law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hold it right there, Dr. Sanders. I got a caller. Caller 8182, last 4 digits.
Hey, Martin, this is Philip Howard from YouTube.
Okay, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I worked in about this story. I worked in the hospital for years, and I've witnessed this stuff over and over and over again. With excuse me, with racism and things like that. At one particular time, I worked in the ER, and a lot of times, not the ER, the OR. And before they would put the patients to sleep, when they would put them to sleep, if they were obese and black, they would talk about the patients. Patient had no idea that they were talking about them because they're asleep, they're under anesthesia. But yeah, I have witnessed stuff like this young lady in the article. I had a doctor one time with an employee. I was at that particular time I was working in the not the ER, I was working in the OR still, and it was a white doctor, and this particular tech, she wasn't moving fast enough for him. He took an instrument and threw it at her and hit her in the eye. And the girl just cried. You know, I told her, I said, you need to go and, talk to an attorney. Because I don't think, this was some years ago, I was working at Loyola in Maywood. I don't think that they really did anything to the doctor. But, I told her, I said, you should go get you a lawyer. Because you're not supposed to be putting your hands over anybody, or you're not supposed to be throwing anything at anybody. I on both sides with just being a Black person as an employee, and even just us African American, the patients that have to come in. I've seen conversations or just seen things myself, and I've worked at Westlake Hospital, UFC, Loyola, and Rush. I worked at all of those hospitals and seen the same thing.
And when let me just say this. A lot of us as Black people that work in these professional settings, and we see things, and we're so afraid to speak out or let somebody know or what's going on. And it happens. It happens, people. It happens. It's a lot of hate. A lot of hate. I remember one time when I went to right over here, Providence. It was in the heart of the winter time. It was a Black nurse. You go there, you check in, and I can hear her say under her breath, "Oh, this one, he homeless." Saying under her breath. And that's what she said. I didn't say nothing because I was painting so bad. She caught me on the right day because she thought I was just there wanting to see the doctor so I can get out the cold. Seriously. And I'm saying this publicly. It's a Black nurse that said that. And I heard her. ER nurse. ER nurse. And I was literally sick. I didn't come in there cold and freezing, half naked or nothing like that. But I guess she thought I was one of whoever. But I never said anything to her about it. But I heard I just wanted to get in there and get well and get on up out of there. Because two people I don't talk crazy to. The ones who fixing my food and one's got a tent to my health. So I try to stay out their way. Seriously. It's not a laughing matter, but that's seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because all it takes, a nurse go in there, a doctor can prescribe a medicine, say, hey, go give him that medicine. Stick it in his IV. And 24 hours, I'm dead. It never happened. It's almost like, a patient is dying, and what they do in the hospital, they give you a shot of morphine, and they say, well, this is where you won't feel no pain and you can make your transition. That's what they say. This is what they do.
Yeah.
I call it the shot of death. It's going to help you push you over to the other side. And any one of us, we don't want to see none of our loved ones in pain. But at the same time, we don't need the hospital or the doctors making a decision to push them on over to the other side. So I know we sued a particular place for my father. So I know what they do in these medical places, these nursing homes, mistreat people. And if anybody that's listening to me right now, if you have a loved one that's in a nursing home or rehabilitation center, hospital, you need to visit them every day. Take turns. Have your brother go, your mother, your sister, whoever, and sit and watch. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. If you're a patient, and not just any one of these hospitals, and they see that you don't have no visitors, nobody come and see you, they treat you any kind of way. But when they know you have visitors on the regular, they moving, they tiptoeing, they make sure they doing everything right. The nurse told me one time, you sure enough be watching. I said, you got that right. My father was sick in the hospital. I was watching everything. Everything. Because I know he couldn't defend for himself. He was weak. So I'm his son. So I'm watching. That's what I had to say. Sarge, go ahead.
Yeah. With the people, you say, well, they see something, don't say nothing. I'm not one of them type of individuals. Make a long story short, I called a congressional investigation and got a whole chain of command relieved before I got out the military. They were doing improper behavior. I'll blow a whistle. I got some big lips.
Yeah. And so how many of us is willing to do that, though? A lot of people won't say anything. They won't say anything, Sarge, when they see. Go ahead, Doc Sanders.
I can't speak for them. I know how it feels to be the little person in a big situation. It don't feel good, Martin. If I see something, I'm gonna say something, and I don't care. Oh, and when you were saying, I'm gonna be brief. When you said something about the paramedics going to someone's home without they say you gotta bring police. Now in Georgia, it's different things that are agitated. Somebody's military status, that's and so, blah blah blah. Say if you were screaming from here, and you heard a thud on the floor, and you was like, what the sergeant fell? And you come and look, you dial 911. They're gonna have uniformed police come in here with the paramedics. Because they know there's weapons in this house.
That's understandable. Go ahead, Doc Sanders.
Yeah.
Dr. Sanders, go ahead.
I'm here. When I worked in a nursing home, I worked in different capacities: nursing assistant, occupational rehabilitation assistant, and I worked as a social worker assistant as well, director. I want to tell everybody, Martin, when you can't make the time or take the time to take care of your loved one, find someone in your family that do not have a lot going on, but don't mind, and you pay them. Give them a little something to make sure that your loved one stays alive. I was taught in my family not to put my loved one in a nursing home at all, because I know what goes on. I've watched how the nursing assistants would wash their hair and put the end of a glove on the end of their hair, to make it a rubber band. I've seen them, not properly do patient care with them in the bed. When you want something done, it takes everybody to come together. As simple as that. No matter what. Because the nursing home industry, they take everything, including the pension, including your Social Security. Everything goes, and then if you're a resident, you only get about $30 a month to live off of. That's not no money. You got to make sure that your people's insurance policies are paid up, because the nursing home will make you liquidate all their assets. You have to understand the system. But if you want change, you have to do it for real. It's so easy to talk about it. It's so easy to discuss it. But you got to take control of making the laws change. This is why you vote. This is why you go to Congress. Write them, call them out. That's how you do it. That's the way it goes. And if you don't like the nursing home, find somebody in your family that maybe needs to make a little extra money and provide the things that they need to be cared for while you're at work. That's what you call sacrifice. Martin, did I not do that for my father?
Yeah.
I know. I took care of my mother. But she was not a nursing home.
Again, Doc, I appreciate you on that point, because a lot of us, we need to know there's a lot of dirty things that's going on. And I'm going to tell you, some of these hospitals, I'm not going to scream out no names, but Lord have mercy, you can walk in there and they're going to carry you out in the body bag for something simple. Some of these hospitals that's in the city of Chicago, I know a couple of them on the south side, people tell you, don't take me there. Don't take me there. They're dying now. Don't take me there. And I think every city got a hospital like that, where you know you can go in there with a toothache and you might not come back out. I tell you. I remember when my mom was sick one time, and she said it felt like these walls are caving in on her. She was dying, and she says, demonic in this place. See, it's a whole totally different world, people, in the hospital at nighttime, when less traffic, no visitors, when it's just all staff. It's different. It's something about nighttime that's scary when you're in the hospital. But when daytime come, you know it's a lot of activity going on. I tell you, and I've been known that when people ring that little bell and want the nurse to come, nurse may take an hour before she comes. I'm telling you. Some of these nursing homes, they'll let your loved one sit in a wet diaper for hours because they only have one CNA on the whole floor. Overworked and underpaid to change your loved one diaper. Now, do we need hospitals? Yes. Do I believe in medical terminology and medical? Yes, I believe in all that. But they got to be called out on the carpet too as well. I don't believe.
Martin, a lot of these.
Go ahead. I got another caller, Dr. Sanders. Go ahead. I'm going to use.
A lot of these nursing homes hire people with background. I'm going to throw it at you. Kenwood Nursing Facility, before it went through a lot of transitional changes, a lot of them hire a lot of folks that got out of jail and need a job, because most of these major hospitals and corporations are not going to hire you with a criminal background. They hire a lot of people that have got out of jail, or they are just without a job, that are out there hanging around. You know, Pookie Ray Ray and Pookie Ray Ray's cousin.
But
they don't know patient care.
Yeah, they got to work too, Dr. Sanders. I ain't against Pookie and Ray Ray number high.
They do.
They got to work too.
Because that's not what I'm saying. That's not my point.
All right.
When they hire them, they need to train them about patient care.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they write those books for nursing assistants, for any of the major healthcare arts that you work, you got to learn customer service. I've seen a lot of them. Let me throw this at you, Martin, so you get your call on the phone. I worked at Lexington Healthcare. I caught the CNAs messing with patients. I'm going to leave it right there.
Okay. Wow. All right. 7708. Hey, caller, you're next, live, uncut, unedited.
How we doing, Mark?
Oh, great. Wonderful. Good to be living in the land of the living.
I know that's right. So I want to chime in on this topic. One, I want to make a comment, and then I want to go in on what I wanted to say. But, you know, as a Black person, if we blew the whistle and everything we saw on these workplaces, we wouldn't have no job. That's just the truth. There's so much stuff to go on. I remember working in a space once, in a medical field once, seeing clients, and I seen a client for, let's say, 5 minutes. We don't get to charge them, their insurance company, unless we write a 15-minute note.
And so if you see them for 5 minutes or less, essentially you're not supposed to get paid for that service, but they tell you go ahead and bill them for 15. That's a 15-minute note or whatever the case may be. And so exactly what you're taught in terms of being ethical and moral, exactly what they tell you to go against so they can get paid. And it's just commonplace for you to go along with things, even though it's not necessarily ethical, to keep the money flowing. You know what I mean? So before you know it, you wrap up in the system that if you thought about it beforehand, it would compromise your personal morals. But you ain't it, and you got bills to pay. And again, if you was to blow the whistle on a lot of these things, you would almost have to open up your own business because you wouldn't be able to work with nobody. I don't care if it's a meat packing place or this, it's all type of stuff that we be seeing that we know is not right. And so it's hard to just work in a lot of these white spaces, which a lot of these employment sites are, as a Black person. That's just a kind of a general comment I wanted to make.
Okay, let me say this in what you just said. When you say whistleblower, a lot of times when people blow the whistle, sometimes you'll never know. They be right on the job. You won't know who it is. So
right, you can do it anonymous.
Yeah, you could do it anonymous because I knew of a situation. A person was a whistleblower, and they couldn't figure out. They didn't know who said it. They didn't have no proof. It's just like a thief in a room. I call them a sneak thief.
Mm-hmm.
You having a party, and everybody got their coat hanging up, and somebody go in there, and somebody steal somebody's sunglasses or keys to the cars or something, money or something in the jacket. You won't know because you have a house full of people. And so it is with some whistleblowers. They'll tell it, and you won't know who tell it. You'll never know. And I understand what you're saying, but there's gonna have to come a time where we got to morally make a stand for what's right.
Definitely.
You
know, with some of those. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
A lot of time with the whistleblower situations, there's follow-up investigation that needs to happen, and eventually that person is gonna have to sit down with someone. So sometimes it's hard to remain anonymous to further the investigation goal. Let's say, for example, I call DCFS. I should be able to report something anonymously, but if this particular case is founded, I may have to provide some follow-up information, and it might compromise my identity. But at that point, you doing whatever you need to for the greater good.
Well, at that point, I know a lot of people got DCFS called on them, and they keep the person anonymous. You know, they don't say
that can happen. Right.
Yeah, they still go over there and check it out, even though it might be a lie. And you got some people right now that's watching this live, probably called on somebody because you mad at them, or they didn't want you no more, or you jealous of them. You're gonna call the people on and send that woman or send that man through them troubles. That's terrible. Hold on, caller. Let me see what this caller. I got a new caller. 0892. I think they still going
Hello. Hi, Martin. How are you today?
I'm glad to be living.
I just would like to please praise God. I would just like to make a comment about these doctors, and I just wanted to share some, really quickly. I was recently at the hospital, Northwestern, which is supposed to be a very reputable hospital, and I had a lot of lab work there, and a lot of it was abnormal. And they don't call you like they used to. You have to go to a My Chart, and you have to look at your lab results, and that's what I did. And I saw these abnormal lab results, and of course, I'm a researcher, so I went and looked it all up, and why and how this happens and what you can do about it. And I was patiently waiting for the doctor to call or someone to call. They never did. So I finally called them, and I charted them on My Chart, and a nurse called, not the doctor. And I'm like, I'm concerned about this. This result is like this or that, and it means this and it means that. And she seemed to be vexed because I was inquiring about my health. So I said, I want this doctor to call me. Didn't call. And then they got so upset because I was inquiring about my health. They had the unmitigated gall to have a CNA call me. CNA.
What?
And this lady was on the phone. I said, Sugar, what are you? Who are you? What's your title? She says, I'm a CNA. I say, Sugar, you don't know anything about this. You can't answer any of my questions. She said, I know. I said, well, why are you calling me? She said, because they told me to. And I said, oh my God. And I just was appalled. I went to the directors at the hospitals. I called them. It was a big old thing. And I said, I don't want to see this doctor again. And I also told them, I said, you know, I'm gonna write the CEO. I'm gonna email them because this is a nonprofit hospital that receives tons of money from the government, tons of money from sponsorships, millionaires all over. You are a highly reputable hospital, but you're good and racist. And they are. So many of those doctors in Northwesterns are racist, and they are. But see, they banking on us as African Americans not to be proactive about our health, because the truth of the matter is a lot of us are not. And then I did further research, and I found that the bulk of the Black doctors are located in Atlanta. And I'm like, unless you're rich, you can't fly back and forth to Atlanta to go to doctor appointments and things of that nature. Unless you're wealthy, you can't do that. It's hard to find a Black doctor in Chicago that is not within your budget or your HMO plan. And it's just hard. You're at the mercy of these Asians and these white doctors who absolutely are racist. And I want your listeners to know you guys have to be proactive about your health. Don't listen to everything they say when they're trying to prescribe medication to you. Don't be so willing to take it. Go look that medication up. Look at the side effects. Find out what exactly is that medication for. Is there an alternative? Because a lot of medicines that they give you, there are herbs that are alternatives. That's not the case for high blood pressure. It's not the case for diabetes. But a lot of things that it is. Stop listening to these doctors. I have 3 relatives that have went blind and have lost their hearing because they have been given medication that they have been taking for years, allegedly for chronic constipation. When I researched the medicine, it's not for chronic constipation. It's for indigestion and heartburn. The side effect is diarrhea. And they thinking they having a bowel movement, but it's not a bowel movement. It's a side effect. Now they're going blind, and they've lost their hearing. So I just want you guys to be proactive. I want you to ask questions. I want you to go online, get ChatGPT. It's free. You can look up anything about medicine, symptoms, what causes it, what you can do to treat it, or anything like that. Stop believing these doctors. They're racist. And they're killing us, and they're doing it on purpose. And another thing, I know you guys love soul food. I was raised on soul food. I don't eat it like that no more. It's killing us. You're going to have to get proactive about your diet, and you're going to have to implement some exercise. But the main thing that I want you guys to do is please, please, please be proactive about your health. Do not believe everything the doctor tells you. They get their pads out and they start writing all this medication. Why would you take a medication that the side effects is heart attacks, strokes, blindness, death, convulsions, seizures? No, do not take it. And I'm going to leave after I say this. This one doctor, she told me, she said, she used to be at Mercy. As you know, Mercy no longer exists. It's some other hospital that cares nothing about you. She told me, she said, I have medicine that I could offer you that doesn't have as many side effects. However, I'm not going to offer it to you because your insurance is not going to pay for it, period. It's like certain medications, she told me, are reserved for the wealthy that can afford it. When you have these little insurances, whether it's Medicaid or your own job insurance or whatever, they don't pay for certain treatments. They don't pay for medicine, so they don't even offer it to you. So all your listeners, guys, just please be proactive about your health, do your research, and stay healthy. God bless you guys. Martin, enjoy the rest of your day and be safe.
Thank you so much for the words of wisdom, sister. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And that was a
Okay,
mouthful
bye.
that she educated us on. And I feel the same way she feel. Some things, this is your body. When you go to a doctor, you should ask questions. How long am I going to be on this medicine? What are the side effects? Is this the generic medicine or is this the regular medicine? You know, so don't just like she said, don't just let them write on their little pad and prescribe you something and hand it to you go and you don't say nothing. Well, the doctor told me to take this for 7 days and I'll be all right. You know, people, you only have one body, and you ruin that in this life, it's over with. It's over. Well, you say, well, Martin, we got to die someday. Well, you don't want to die before your time. So the sister told us we got to watch our diet. And that's a part of having good health.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, Lori's, boy. That Lori season salt. Man, just give me a 9mm and let me do it myself. That Lori's is taking black folk out. You have 3 basic seasonings you can use on food, and the food is going to be good. It's going to be all right. Sea salt.
That's it.
Not that one with the girl with the umbrella on the doggone can. That's synthetic salt. That's tearing your insides up. Sea salt is natural.
Mm-hmm.
Ground pepper and garlic powder. Not garlic salt, garlic powder. Try that on your fried chicken. Maybe sprinkle you a little Old Bay or something in there with it. Just a little taste. And see if it tastes different than what you've been eating. And not to disgust nobody. Wait till you have a bowel movement and find out how doggone clogged up you ain't.
Mm-hmm.
I go by somebody's house, they cooking with Lori's. You might as well give me a carton of Newports and a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola and be like, here, bro.
Okay.
That Lori's ain't no good.
So it ain't no good, huh? Yeah.
No good.
Oh, Martin,
go ahead.
I want to say one more thing, if you don't mind,
Go
right
ahead.
quick before
and
I
we're gonna
go.
change the subject. Go
I
ahead.
forgot to tell you guys to pay attention to the biochemical engineered label on food, because they have to put it on there. It's the law. And if you look on the back of your food, your bread and all of that, you're going to see a symbol that says it's bioengineered, which means that the ingredients in there are not natural ingredients. They were engineered, in a lab somewhere, and they were man-made. And you have a right to know that, and it's mandatory that they put the label. In addition to that, this is for my Black women out here that have natural hair. I have natural hair. They're secretly killing us. If you notice, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but there has been a surge of Black women getting cancer. Not just breast cancer and ovarian cancer, but cancer in general. And that is because the Prop 65, which means, Prop 65 means that the ingredients used in what you're putting in your hair are ingredients that cause cancer. And when you buy products, unless it's like only a company that has like, I think 10 people, they don't have to label it. But if it's a major company like L'Oreal or any of these Maybellines or any of these companies, don't go in the store and buy. Go online to their website, and if it's Prop 65, they have to have it at the bottom. You'll see Prop 65, and it'll say that they have cancer ingredients in them. In addition to that, like, we so quick to put certain things in our hair, like shea butter and all these different grapeseed oils. And let me just say this, anything that's not FDA approved, that you can't buy out of a grocery store, do not put it in your hair. Because I can start a cosmetic company and I have to go to distributors and buy my products. But the distributors that I have researched and I went online, all of that peppermint oil, all of that rosemary that you put in your hair, if you stroll down, it says Prop 65. That means that the ingredients in that can cause cancer. And this is why a lot of Black women are getting cancer, because the stuff that we're using, makeup and all of that, is Prop 65. But so many of us didn't know that. To be honest, I only found out this year. So I stopped using all of that. Any products that I can buy out of the store, like that black castor oil, Prop 65. If you want to use castor oil in your hair, go to the store and buy it at a Whole Foods. That's where I get mine from, regular castor oil. That peppermint oil, stop putting that in your hair, is Prop 65. If you want a scalp stimulator, you get Spanish rosemary and you get spearmint oil. Both of those are quite pricey, but none of those are Prop 65. Start reading and go to the actual website and stroll all the way down and look for that Prop 65 and look on the back of your food for that bioengineered food that's not real. The ingredients are not real and it's harmful and it's made in a laboratory. Start paying attention, because they're getting us with this natural hair stuff, because these products that they giving us for our so-called natural hair that we wear, like I wear, that stuff is Prop 65. None of you all know because they're not telling you. I'm going to tell you the oils that you can use that's not. Regular castor oil, you can get that from Whole Foods. Spearmint oil, Spanish rosemary, it doesn't have that in there. Stop putting anything that's not in the grocery store that's FDA approved in your hair, because that's another way that they're using to hurt us. I have never seen so many Black women get cancer in my life, but it's abundant now because they're killing us with that Prop 65. And another thing, whatever you buy, any type of microwave or anything, if you can, go on to Walmart.com, because they have to post it, because they have Walmart's in California. California makes you put it on anything. If you go to Macy's or any of them stores to get any type of electronics, they're not required in Illinois to put it up there. But if they sell that same product at Walmart, they have to, because Walmart is in California. And I went and looked, and I'm not going to lie. Now, my microwave is not Prop 65, but my air fryer, my blender, and all of that is Prop 65. So I'm getting rid of that because it has chemicals that it was made with, and the material that made that stuff causes cancer. And that's probably why we're getting cancer too, because we use all that stuff, and the material, it's cancerous, but they don't have to tell you that.
That cell
so
phone
I'm just
too.
saying.
Cell phone too, sister.
Yeah, but you know, from my understanding, we've been using cell phones for years, so that's kind of low. Now, this the 5G they say is worse, but pay attention to Prop 65, people. You guys, Martin's audience, pay attention. Start reading for that bioengineered food, and when you buy things, whether it's for your hair, electronics, anything, go to the actual Walmart. Will put it up there because Walmart is in California, and California is the state that demands it. Illinois don't demand that they put it on there.
I want to say something too. The FDA, they be scamming too, because if you got money, they'll let something pass by and they know it ain't right either. So we got to watch everybody, not just them, their products too, because they with it too. That money.
No, but what I'm saying is Walmart is in California, and the law was administered in California. So anything that's sold in California, it has to have Prop 65. So if it's sold at Walmart, it has to have it on there because Walmart is in California.
Okay.
And the law was made in California, not Illinois. Okay. So you guys just be careful and be proactive, because they're trying to get us in every way they can. So just pay attention to your food and what you put in your hair.
Thank you, sister.
Hey, Martin, I want to add something before you switch the subject.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
So just the other thing I wanted to say. So I worked most of my life in schools as a school social worker. And in my training, before I became a social worker, they had you identify your unspoken bias, ways and attitudes you may feel about a certain group of people or population, which might make it hard for you to work with them. I have a personal bias against people that touch on little kids. I've had to work with a lot of these clients, but a lot of my employers knew, try to find someone else to work with them first before I work with them. And I'm saying that to say, I think the same thing happens in schools, the same thing happens in hospitals. They have a certain preference of who they might want to work with. Although they have to see every client, at times they do have the option to say, well, look, there's 3 doctors available. Okay, we're going to choose this one doctor last because we know that this is a population that they have, if they had the choice, they don't want to work with them. And that stuff exists. And I don't care what no one says. Like everyone on here said, they have people that worked in hospitals, they witnessed it. But in our training, we have to put that up front. Like, I am a human being, and there are some populations that I prefer not to work with.
Okay.
And so it happens in schools. So imagine that black child in a white school and thinking that this white teacher is going to help this child excel to their highest potential. It's not going to happen if they have a personal bias against black people. If a doctor have a personal bias against gang members, what's the chances of them getting a gunshot victim and nursing this person back to life if they think that they in the gang or if they seen them on the internet? Like, all of this stuff exists. And so the idea of putting a camera on them and watching them, I think, is an excellent idea, because we all have these unspoken bias, and it affects our work. No matter how professional we can be, it affects our work. And we're putting our trust in a lot of these professionals, whether it's a priest, a pastor, a doctor. We putting our life in their hands and not understanding, not necessarily understanding, but acknowledging, but they're still human beings. And they have human error, and at times they have hate in their hearts, even though they're called to do something greater than their personal beliefs. They can't help it. They can't deny who they are because it comes out in their work.
And that takes us right over to the next subject. So y'all, we flipping this frequency a little bit, but here we go. Part 2 of last night. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, here we go, people.
Who was up and, you know, he would take my hand, my small hands, and put it on his, and then he would whisper up and, you know, massaging it up and down until he reached. And then my response would be, well, what is that? And he would say, taste it. And we would go in the shower and we would take a shower.
I'm sorry, people.
Shower together every day. This was normal. This was my routine every single day. I was still wearing diapers when my stepfather started engaging me with. My mom would leave for work about 6 o'clock, and my older siblings were in school. So from Monday through Friday, I was left with my stepfather alone in the apartment. And what would happen was, as soon as he assured the fact that my mother and my siblings were gone, he would get in the middle of the bed and take off all of his clothes. And he had burns on his chest. And so, being a young person, you know, a child, a baby even, I was curious and would touch his chest, and he would say, oh, it's okay, it feels good, continue to touch my chest. And then he would take my hands and he would move my hands slowly down his torso to his midsection. When summer came, then the story got broader. One day we're playing and I hear him say, it's time for you to go in the back room. Go in the back room, okay? Go in the back room. When I go in the back room, my brother and my sister are there. And my stepfather's famous line was, if I do one of you, I do all of you. And my brother, I'll never forget the look on his face. The look on his face was devastation. And my brother said, no. Whatever you're doing, do me. And so my brother says, Sharon, whatever you do, don't come down the hall. And I promised him, but of course I lied. And to my dismay, when I went down the hall and peeked through the door with the crystal handle, this man was violating my brother. And again, this went on for a very, very long time. Our sexual abuse, or my specific sexual abuse, went on from 2.5 until 9 years old. My stepfather was forcing himself inside of me, a little girl. And so as a young person, I had arthritis because my hands would swell from him every day. And I would tell my mother, and her response to that was to pour green alcohol and Bengay on my hands, rub my hands, and she would wrap them in ace bandages at night. But never once did she decide to leave this man, and she stayed with them. They were married for 55 years. I remember around the time I was 8 or 9, and I started having bad stomach pain. I remember me and my sister was outside playing horsey, and one day all of a sudden my stomach just started hurting tremendously. I was just bent over, doubled over in pain. And so they took me to the hospital because the pain would not stop. And when they examined me, I had a tubal infection. And the doctor said, you know, a fallopian tubal infection. And they said the only way that she could have had this type of infection is that she's having sex. So my mother looks at me very sternly and say, you better not say anything. It was the early 1970s. I'm just another little black girl, other little brown girl. And so they did not do their duty. They did not report this violation. And I was sent back home. I've been picked on all of my life. After school at 2:35, me and would walk across to the grass, and the kids would say, we're gonna beat up Cheryl Jones. And it got so frequent that I would just go lay in the grass, and they would jump on top of me and beat me up and slap me around. Then one day, this girl, she had just moved from the Bronx, and she came to our school, and it said, oh, beat up Cheryl. You know, she's the girl to beat. She's easy to beat. She won't fight back. And so that's what I did. And of course, I went in my spot where I laid down in the grass, and she jumped on me. And my brother had been hearing about me getting beat up on a regular basis. And he said to me, Sharon, you got to fight. So I had 3 names. I had Sharon, Cheryl, and now I'm Beloved. Cheryl was my birth name. Sharon was my nickname. And Beloved is the woman that I became. On August the 10th, 2021, I went and changed my name legally because I never felt beloved. I never felt cherished or adored or treasured or any of those things. And I knew that every time that name would go out into the atmosphere, I was changing my destiny. So that day, after my got off of me, I heard my brother's voice in my ear. You got to fight back. And so as she began to walk into Bowman Towers, I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, listen, my brother said, if I don't beat you up, he's going to beat me up. And needless to say, I put a whooping on her that day. Honey, I scratched and punched and scratched and punched and jumped on top of her. And it was taking all of my energy to fight back like this. I was like, I was dealing with violence in my home. I didn't want to be violent toward anyone else. And then she had a little scratches, a little bit of blood. And then her mom called my mom. And I got a whooping for defending myself that day. So it was like almost in vain. Another thing that was very interesting is that my mother was a cleaning fanatic. And so I remember one Saturday we're cleaning the apartment, and I think one of them said something about their menstrual cycle. And I said, I know where that comes from. You know, a girl bleeds out of her behind. And my mother said, what did you say? And I said, I know why mama's always mad. She's mad because she thinks her husband is having sex with you. And my mother said, what did you say? And this look of rage, I mean, like she transformed into a whole different human being. And she began to chase me around the apartment. We had bunk beds. And she got a belt, and I jumped atop of the bed, and I slid down the back, and I ran past her. And as I'm running, my sister that's closest to me, for some reason, and she said, oh, she ran into the shower. She's in there. And I remember I ran in there, and I was now cornered in the shower. And my mother grabbed me and body slammed me in the shower. And she jumps on top of me. She is choking the life out of me. The veins are bulging in her neck, and the veins are bulging in my neck, and there's whelps all over me, and she's scratching me, and she's beating me with a broomstick, and she had with one hand, and she is choking me, and her full body weight is on top of my chest. And as my mother is choking me with one hand, she reaches up and grabs a hammer, all steel from handle to top. And as she jumping and grabbing and coming down to hit me on the head, my oldest sister jumps on her back and says, you're going to kill her. And she says, that's my intention. I'm going to do this today. And then my mother and my sister are tussling and they're rolling and things are knocking and breaking, and I have just enough room to get up from under my mother's clutch. And I am breathing and heavily, and I'm bleeding, and my clothes are torn and I'm tattered. And by now we have an audience to the back door of our apartment. You know, people are coming and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And my mother and my sister is tussling, and we had a neighbor. Her name was Miss, and she screams at my mother, "What in the world is wrong? You're gonna kill your child over a..." And so she grabs me and pulls me out from the midst. And by that time, the police have arrived. And you know, they're looking at my mother. My mother is slobbering from the mouth. I mean, just like a wild animal. When we moved across town, across the city to the other, into a very nice neighborhood, to a nice, decent neighborhood, I remember being afraid, because I remember that now my eldest sister wasn't going to be there, and who was going to be there to protect me. So I'm sitting there at the edge of the bed, and like clockwork, my stepfather comes in and he grabs my breast, and I jump up and I run into the kitchen, and I said, "He touched my breast." And my mother says immediately, "I'm so sick of it." And she says, so she calls him, "Come here." And he comes in and she says, "Sharon says that you touched her breast." I don't give a good what she says. She says. Then they go in the bedroom and come back out, and my mother goes back to cooking, and I'm standing there in the hallway like, "What's up? Like, when we leaving? When are we packing up? We can go. We can even go back and live with Daddy." And she says, "Just go upstairs." I never let her touch me again. She betrayed me in the worst way. I no longer trusted her. And so I became, I guess, somewhat disrespectful. I had no more honor for her. I remember one day after having my son, my stepfather was still working in the school system, but by now he had been demoted because he was stealing things from the school. He had been demoted because he was unlocking doors, classrooms, and allowing basketball players to go in there and have sex with their girlfriends, and so he could watch them. One day, we get a knock at the door. The police knocks at the door, and he says, "Is here?" That's all I needed to hear. I said, "Come on to the door, because your husband done molested somebody's child, and that going to jail today." It was all over the news, daily news, everything. My mother had a daycare, a thriving daycare. She lost her business. She lost everything. He had the little boy at the school that he had been demoted to, and the little boy reported it while I'm at school. And she has my first son. My mother would call me every morning at 6 o'clock, and she would curse me. "I don't know why you at college. You are no good mother. You are nothing. You never gonna be nothing. Why are you at school?" She would just go on, and this, it happened so much that I would be crying on the phone, and they could hear, my roommates could hear, my dorm mates could hear my mother screaming at me through the phone. And so after a while, they recognized who was calling, and so they would come to the door and they said, "What do you want to do? You want us to answer? You gonna take the call, or you're not gonna take the call?" And I said, I'm not gonna take the call. They said, "Don't worry about it. I got you, because I already heard your mother. You don't worry. We got you, girl." So finally, she convinces me to come home because I'm a no good mother. And so I come home and I'm writing this poetry. I'm writing, and my mother takes my son and throws him on the bed, and she picks up my poetry and she begins ripping it to shreds. She just takes the notebook and she throws it on the ground and she's ripping. "You're never going to be nothing. You're not anything." And so what I recognize is that my mother was very jealous of me. 21 years later, after getting out of domestic violence, relationship, marriage, I went back to college. I got a bachelor's degree, and then I got a master's degree. I got an honorary doctorate. I lobbied with Maxine Waters and Joe Biden, Lynn Rosenthal. They invited me to the Capitol to tell my story before Congress people there. As parents, it is our responsibility to protect our children at all costs. In my closing, as I've raised my children the best that I could, and I fled a domestic violence marriage. And I did not want my children to see their mother murdered. And we were on our way to see my mother. And my oldest son has always been a defender of us. He said, you don't have to keep torturing yourself by going to visit her, by being subject to her meanness. And so I turned my car around and I drove back up the road. Sometimes I hurt my own self. Sometimes I wasn't always careful and loving to myself. But I've matured and I've healed and I've evolved. And I'm doing my best every day to show up as my best self. And I'm thankful. I'm very, very, very thankful for my life now. I've been a Haiti missionary. I've traveled to Germany and I'm writing books and traveling and thanking God for another opportunity to live on the other side of pain. I never thought that I would even live to be 50 years old. And here I am on the other side. So I'm very, very thankful. It's time for something new.
All right, people. I mean, that is devastating, devastating, devastating. I tell you, people, it's real. All right, Dr. Sanders.
All right. Well, when I listened to her story, Martin, ladies, let me share this with you all. All of us have made bad decisions and choices when it comes to a mate approaching us, a potential mate approaching us. You need to get to know these people, these guys that you deal with. I'm speaking from experience. You need to know what type of man they are, where they come from, how they feel about family, how do they treat their mother, how would they treat their daughter if they have any, how would they treat their sister. When I was growing up, Martin, I wasn't allowed to sit on my daddy's knee because he was still a man. The Southern upbringing taught me not to be jumping and doing all kinds of stuff, and that was with my father. Okay? When my parents split, my mother had a guy, but he never did anything to me. Never. He was really like a geek, you know. But he respected my mother, and he would do things for me on Christmas, but he never touched me. When you meet these people, these men, you need to watch how they look at your daughter, how they embrace your daughter, how they pay attention to everything that she does as a little girl. I had a lot of clients when I was running the shelter whose children were molested by their boyfriends. And the boyfriends would tell them, I will hurt you if you tell your mother. They had the Jim Jones mentality. Touch me here, touch me there. Because a lot of women get mad at their daughters saying, you're trying to take my man. No, she's not trying to take your man. Your man is trying to take her. Did you not see that movie that Monique played in? Where, with the movie name Martin, I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I know.
Where he was having sex with her.
Precious, yeah.
Precious, while fingering her daughter's private. And she got mad at her and got angry at her to the point that her daddy impregnated her with his child, and she tried to kill that girl with a TV set. Ladies, stop, think, observe. Because the sick, twisted thing that she had to deal with, this lady dealt with on the video. She bottled all of that hurt and disdain inside of her. Walking out, leaving your children with the man that you think loves you, and you find out he don't love you at all. Many of these men just have a place to stay and lay their head on your pillow and sit up there eyeing your daughter. My daughter had to check a guy that the pastor knew. I had a talk with her today. She said, Mama, I didn't tell him to tell you he was making a pass at me because I handled him. She said, because you would have killed him. Oh, yes, I would have got a knife. I would have got his butthole, took it apart,
I would have cut his penis off. I'm sorry, Martin, I'm going there. And I would have took his penis down his throat and put a knife down his esophagus. That's what I mean by hurting somebody. Your child is the baby that comes out of you. The late Bishop Carlos Moody Sr. said, you are responsible for your children. They belong to you. You can't put them on the chopping block for the wolf to come and get them. You got to watch everybody that you engage yourself with, even your own family members. Yes, this man by himself, oh, he sets me well. Oh, I just love him. These men don't love you when they're eyeing your daughter. Look at the story that the lady has given us, playbook by playbook of what he did to her. God is going to hold you accountable for not protecting your child. And you have to teach your children how to scream when the violator is violating them. Stop worrying about being accepted by a bunch of men who don't even love themselves. On the awakening, if you go into the awakening series, the one that Apostle Clifford Turner had, where the guy was messing with his niece, his own
Uncle
niece,
Bobby.
Uncle Bobby. And he was messing with that girl ever since she was little because her mother was worried about building her shop. Her father was worried about building his career. And nobody paid attention to the girl until she started bleeding out of her vaginal area. Her hymen was broken by her uncle. Watch how you do your daughter. Don't dress them up so pretty in front of a man that you think is in love with you. Men that are out there, listen to me. Would you want to do something to another woman, or would you want a man doing something to your mother? If you're suffering and struggling with molestation and rape, don't take it out on the woman that you say you love and her children, whether it be her son or her daughter. You don't have a right to do that. That's a life. That's a soul. That's demonic. And God is going to deal with you. If you're hurt and you were molested, men, and you were violated and nobody heard you, cry out to somebody. If it means running out the house and you might not be decent, I promise you, because the women look to you as leaders, but when you do something to her seed that was in her stomach, because you are angry at what happened to you, and you push that violation off on her children, that's not helping her. You're stroking her out. You're stressing her out. If you got hidden pain that you just cannot overcome, get to a church and talk to a reputable leader and tell them, I messed up. Go to somebody and get counseling and help. Because I cried when I listened to that video. And I want to look for that woman's father and take his tonsil out. Because why would you do this to her and then play mind games with the mother and the mother gets mad? She need her butt kicked every day. That was your daughter. That was your children. And anytime somebody says, secret club, there's another word, secret club. So tell it, because you have relatives that sit up here and their children will get a hold of your kids and everybody turn each other out. And guess what happens now, Martin? Oh, we're all gay now. The devil is a lie. Ain't got nothing to do with no gay. The children don't know how to respond because they are afraid of rejection from the people that gave birth to them. They don't want to cause trouble because they don't want to think that they're nasty. or it's their fault. I promise you. If these men, I don't care how fine they are, I don't care how sexy they are, I don't care if the cologne they wear and spend $200 on a bottle. If that fool, any inkling your children or your child gives you about a fool messing with them, you better wake your butt up.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let somebody else talk. And well, okay, Sarge, you next.
I already doggone put my story out there. There ain't much I can say to follow that.
Okay. All right. I'll go to 8182.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I had my phone on mute.
Yeah, what's your thought? That's good. What's your thoughts?
My thing, I've been through this. This lady's story is like my family history. My mom, she was molested, her and her sisters, by their father. And I have a situation now in my family with a sibling that was recently accused of raping his daughter. And it actually makes me think back to my own childhood when I was younger myself. And I think you all had talked about it on another show or something like that. But, I was so young to remember. I'm not for sure what happened to me, but I was raised with my stepfather. And I remember, when I would go to sleep or lay down, I would be like laying on top of his chest. But I'm saying this to say this, I'm saying, same gender loving. So I think a lot of times in my head, and even recently, well, who did something to me to make me get these feelings and these feelings that I've had my entire life? Now, I was so young, I can't accuse the man to say that he did anything to me or anything like that. But it was just some situations that I could remember, and it just wasn't appropriate. It just wasn't the right setup. It just seemed like something could have happened or something possibly happened. My mom, he didn't work. My mom's worked 2 jobs. So I was basically left with him all day. So I don't know, it just kind of makes me think in my head that, something probably possibly happened to me. And then another thing, growing up when you're older and you're being around other family members and the cousins and going over to their house, and they might be 5 or 6 or 7 years older than you. I've had situations happen to me like that with male and female that took advantage. Parents need to be very cautious about who you let, where you're letting your kids go. Do you know really what's going on with them? Do you really know what's going on with the kid? Because, that was the situation that happened with me. I was taken advantage of by cousins or friends of the family of children that was maybe 5 or 6 years older than me. So, yeah. And as a child, I didn't look at it as necessarily being wrong. It took me to become an adult to be like, well, you were taken advantage of. You were raped. There was one young lady that used to babysit me. And at the time, I couldn't have been no more than 6 or 7 years old. And she would take me in the basement and I can't really say what she did, but she would do, have her way. So, it just don't happen to females. It happens just as much to the males also, that they are molested. It's almost like it's kind of like a repeated cycle, and that's why these guys, they have daughters and things like that, and then they repeat the same cycles over and over again. They doing what somebody did to them when they were younger.
Mhm. Let me ask you a question, sir. I don't know you from a can of paint. If I did, I wouldn't say your name out like that. Um, in your own words, what would you tell parents, both the father and mother? What could they possibly do to avoid a situation like this? What advice would you give them? If they listen in right now, some parents, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to guard over their children like it's their life, and not be so quick to judge close friends or even family members, because a lot of times it comes within from the family. So, especially when your kids are younger and they can't speak for themselves, I would say keep your children at home. Maybe, you and your husband, you have to make arrangements where he worked one day, and then when you can't find a babysitter, then you have to stay at home the next day. But, I know that in the real world that that's not possible. But I would just say you really have to guard over your children, because especially when they're at the ages of where they can't express themselves and talk, they really need to be at home with you, not anybody else.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. 7708, you're my last person. Go ahead. Comment. Any comments?
Oh wow. This one I'm not gonna touch mine. I'm not gonna touch on this.
Okay, I'll leave it alone. I got another call. Somebody just called too. This is deep. This is definitely deep. It was the same way last night. It was deep. All right, caller, 4438. I don't know if you still listen to the prompts, but you're live, uncut, unedited. They probably still listen to the prompts. 4438. Caller. Yeah, I'm a second, probably because they just called in. Listen to the prompts. Hey, caller. 44.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing? You're my last caller. Go ahead and give us your expressions, your comments, whatever you want to say. We're listening.
So, just after listening, I never really looked at it as some of the stories that I've actually heard. But I can remember going to cousins' houses and we playing a game called House. And for a long time, it became normal to me. But as I'm older, I realized that was really inappropriate. So what I would suggest to any parent, first and foremost, is to have an open relationship with your child. Let your child know that no matter what the situation is, what happened, even if they may have done something wrong, that they can come to you and they can talk to you. Because when kids, now I want to make sure that we separate, because there's a such thing as being your child's friend. And, nowadays people say, oh, I'm not my child's friend. But I do believe there is a certain point where you do have to become your child's friend in order for them to feel comfortable to tell you things. But at the same time, I'm mama. And this, it's rules. Because when your child do not feel they can come and talk to you, things like this happen. I want my child to know, even if somebody told you they was going to do this or do that to you, come talk to me. We'll figure it out. Even if we scared together, we going to figure this out. So that's the most important thing, is to have that open. And I know for me, when I was younger, you try to go and tell your family members something or your parents something. It's like, oh, get out of here, because it was just not the right time. But sometimes you just really have to take a minute to see, because sometimes it may
not be the right time for you, but it's the right time that your child really want to express and let you know some things that's going on. So you have to have that so that we can prevent a lot of this. And just don't trust nobody. And I know that's hard when, you figure this my family. But I see things like this happening, not just with the boyfriend, but close in family, and it's getting ignored because it's family. You have to be really strict with your children. Some of my friends be like, oh, you overprotective. Oh, here's the thing for me. I'd rather be overprotective with what's going on with them than for something to happen and I wasn't protective.
I want to ask you a question.
Because it's my job.
I want to ask you a question, ma'am. Now, I heard everything you said. Only thing I didn't hear.
Okay.
It's the only thing I did, and I'm concerned about this from your story. I didn't hear you say that I explained to my children, if you've been touched in this such and such a way, you've been violated. Now, you did say you kind of like had to be a friend, but that can go either way. I've been a parent all my life. I ain't never been, not all my life, but adult life. I've never had to be a friend of my children. I've always kept that father and child or daughter or son relationship and kept it open where they can talk. But what prevention do you tell your children when they see things like this coming? Because you're not going to always be around your children. They have to go to school, no matter, you have to leave. What prevention can you tell your children to look out for? That's what I didn't hear you say. Now, it's good to be overprotective, but you have to give them the information. So when things like this come, you have to tell them, hey, if somebody invites you in a room by yourself and start making like they're wrestling you, those are some of the signs. So that's what I'm trying to get you to see. So it's not just only protect.
So my apologies. I didn't break it down in that way, but I have those conversations with my children.
Okay.
And that was when they was old enough to talk. I just was trying to shorten it up just to tell you. And when I said friendship, I'm just saying that closeness, that relationship. And I believe that, and I know you old school, Martin, you're a little bit older than me. But when I look at times and these kids, they are different. And I'm not saying my kids don't disrespect me. I have to be honest. But when I say a friendship, I'm just meaning that close relationship with them where they can feel comfortable with coming to tell you things, even if they made the wrong decision.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? So
I'm
sorry that I didn't specifically say
you
it.
got to be sorry. You got to be apologetic, but I was just concerned, even with that, you don't have to be their friend. You just be a parent. That's it. And, a parent that's open, that you leave a door open. Hey, you can talk to me. Even with my teenage daughter, I tell her, when I tell her something, if I'm about something, I give her an option. I always give them options to talk back to me now, whether I agree with it or not. We're not talking about no back lip, but just talk back to me. So I understand. And listen, whatever works for you, it works. But I don't have to get down on none of my children level, just as me speaking. And in order for them to communicate with me, I started when they was babies. I bonded. Only one I didn't really bond with was this last one. That's another story. But the first four, I bonded with them. And we kept that line of communication open. I trained them as a father. I said, you got to look out for this. You got to look out for that. If somebody do this, boom. I just educate them. And my motto was, I didn't
Well, you got to look at it, though, Martin. Male and women parenting are just different overall. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. But I just don't want you to downplay what I'm coming from when I say friendship. I'm not saying I'm doing everything you doing.
Listen. You can't be. Listen. When you say friendship, you putting yourself on their level. You're not on their level. You're not 18, 19, 20. Listen, I tell young people. This is what I tell young people. That's 10 years old. I was 10 for 12 months. I was 11 for 12 months, 12, 13, 14, all those numbers for 12 months. So I know some of the things that you go through, the peer pressure, the influences. Because one thing right now, I got grown children. I don't have a problem with them cussing me out right now, even right now, or even saying anything out of way to me. I've known grown children to fight with their parents, physically fight with their parent, and talk back to them like they're on the same level. When my children swear, they say, oh, forgive me, Dad, I'm sorry, real quick. But they're grown. They don't live at home with me, but they're grown. But it's just that respect that I demand and I give it. I understand what you're saying, but I'm never on that level.
And I understand totally what you're saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is think about it like this. So when you say friendship, when you look at friendship as a whole, you mean to tell me there's no friends that you have that is on a higher level than you? Not at all?
No. Well, let's define friendship. First of all, let's define it. What is your meaning of friendship?
Exactly.
What is your meaning of friendship?
My meaning of friendship is a relationship, a bond. Let me see, what else can I say? Basically, a place where you can be open, you can be yourself, no judgment. That's what I look at as a friendship. Okay. Not that I'm going to disrespect you because we have what's considered a friendship. I'm not saying, I just don't want people to feel like because you may say that your child is a friend, I'm not saying disrespect me. I told you my kids don't do that, but I do believe that there is some type of way in relationship in order to build a close bond with them that I may have to come to them from an understanding, not so much as, I'm older than you, so I know that. No, that's not what I'm saying. But
everything that you just
that's
named.
That's just my opinion. And I understand what you're saying, but
everything that you just named, those three things that you just named. Yeah, no problem. The three different things that you just said, all those are parenting. That's parent and daughter, parent and son relationship.
But parenting and friendship may go hand in hand at some point. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like we're going to be out here in the streets and we speaking it. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Let me say this. I have a special bond with my children. They are my children. I have a special bond with them.
So you don't think a friendship is a special bond?
No, not. You can't be no friend of each other. No.
Okay.
It's a parent.
Okay.
No. My daughter.
I get where you're coming from.
Huh? No, let me say that. I gotta say this. Hold it.
No, it's true.
Hold it. A situation came up the other day, and I explained to my teenager, I said, whenever you need me, an emergency or something, I'm there for you. And guess what? An emergency came. She called me 1-some in the morning. I could have said, well, you know what, go work it out, dude, stay there. Something happened. I want to put a business out. They'd be mad at me. But I had to go get her. There wasn't no jail, and I had to go pick her up. And remember, I told her, I said, whenever you need, I don't care, no matter where you at, what happened, you call me, I'm coming. And I was at home laying down, was asleep, relaxing, called me. I said, I got to get up. Because guess what? She called me when she really needed me. And as a father, I appreciate that. Now, I didn't jump down her throat and you should do this, you didn't do none of that. I appreciate her calling me and said, Dad, come and get me. And that's what I did. This is 1:30 in the morning, 1-some in the morning. That's that bond that we're bonding. And I'm not a friend. Now she know it. We talk, and I said, we got to get closer. I tell her all the time, we have to communicate.
And I understand exactly where you're coming from. So I respect how you feel about that, but I'm just telling you, that's just my situation.
Well, okay, I'm telling you, well, friends, when you're a friend, you're on the same level as your friend. I got a friend right now, two
I
friends
don't
on this line.
believe that, but
Okay,
it's
hold
okay.
on.
Like I
I
said,
got-
we can agree to disagree.
I got a friend right now. She's a woman, and I got another one on here as a man, and we friends. And we give each other mutual respect. Mutual respect. Right now. They my friend. I consider them a friend that I can call and say some personal things that's going on with Martin
But my
Johnson.
kids respect me. I never said they disrespected me.
I
so
never
that's
said
what I'm
that-
trying to tell
I
you.
never
You
told. I never
saying
said
that I'm a friend. You
Listen.
saying it as if me saying I'm a friend, they gonna disrespect
No,
me.
I never
They
said.
already know, and I don't have to yell and scream at them. I don't have to do any of that.
Did I?
Martin,
Hold on. I want to say this last
But
thing.
I got you, Martin. It's all good.
Hold on,
I don't
no,
want to take up nobody else's time.
No,
You
no,
can let
no.
the
You
next
ain't taking up no
conversation.
time. I never said your children disrespect you. I never said that. You said that. I didn't. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders.
No, I never said they did, but I was just
No,
wondering when you keep saying
no,
the
I didn't
friendship.
say
Your
that.
definition and my definition are different, but I respect what you're saying in your way. But I feel the same way that you're saying, and the same relationship that I have is the same thing. So I understand that you're saying it's not a friendship, but that's what I call it to a certain degree. But it's okay. We basically saying the same thing. Our children do the same thing, so it's all good.
Well,
Martin,
let me go right here.
Oh, go ahead.
The
Y'all
word,
definitely not saying the same thing.
Thank you.
the word of God.
Martin.
Hold on,
Word of
hold on,
God
caller. Hold on, caller. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders. Go ahead. I got a new caller, but go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders. I can't hear you.
Obey your. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The
I hear you.
Bible says that parents have an accountability to teach their children,
Right.
not be their friends. Now, the world's view is what they want it to be. The world. I'm not talking about her, so I don't want her to think I'm attacking her. I'm not doing that. I'm giving you.
Oh, no, you
the Word
okay.
of God
Listen,
says.
I respect everybody.
The Bible said when the Bible gives us instructions. Now, I have a best friend. She lives in Peoria. We're like sister friends. I can confide in her things, and it's not going to get out. That's a friend. Now, someone else's child, I could play the role as a good friend as an adult, but I can never cross that line as a mother because they have a parent. And that's the thing. When you give birth to a child, that is your child, and you have to feed them. So what a lot of white folks I've seen go through, they want to be their children's friend, and they can't be. But in one of the movies I saw on television, this young lady was being abused by her boyfriend. And you know what she said in there? I don't want you to be my friend. I need you to be my mother. Because the roles cross up with friendship. Because as a parent, you have to impart wisdom that they're not going to feel good about. Friends not going to do that. Friends will say, hey, deuces, whatever. My daughter said something to my friend today. She said, and Martin knows my daughter. He says, yes, I go at it with my mama all the time. She said, and this is what she said, I'd be damned if anybody hurt my mama. She's not my friend, she's my mother. She says, yes, I get crazy. I say stupid stuff. She said, not knowing what I'm saying until after the fact. She said, but that's my mama. And I would kill a nigga over my mama. I heard my daughter say that today. She didn't say my friend. She said mama. And when it comes to she's a strong woman, she's married, she's got children. And I told her when she would ask me my opinion, I would give it. I don't indulge in her. My daughter is going through a lot of internal mental stuff. And you know what I told my daughter? I said, cut the nigga loose when he stressed you out. You don't need to be on no medication. You don't need to be stressed out for somebody that really don't give a rest tell about you or your girl. I told my daughter that. I said, but it's your choice. As a grown woman, you're 31 years old. But understand, you're my daughter. And if a nigga can't go right by you, kick his butt out, you're going to be okay. God is going to bless you. You've got to look at it from the natural standpoint of where the originality of parenting comes from. Because the world will tell you, be your friend. That's it. You can't be their friend because you're not thinking like them. You would know what they're thinking because you were once that age to let them know, Martin. Like you said, Martin, that was a very powerful statement you made. I was 10 for 12 months, 11, 12. We are 1 year for each of those years that we have grown up. My mom, my dad was never my friend. My dad was not really a father to me. He didn't know how to be a father. He just didn't know. I was raised by my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my aunt, and my mother. But the thing about it, they were not my friends. They taught me what the parenting role was. Because friends can't be your parents. It's impossible. That's backwards. That's backwards. So when the world comes in with their definition, they put a glitch in it. Because the Bible tells the parent what you have a right to do. The Bible gives you the authority. Why? Because when they go out into the world and they act up, the law will say, who's your parent? They're not going to ask who's your friend. When you go to the hospital and give birth, they don't ask you who is the friend that gave birth. They say who is the mother, who are the parents of this child. They don't say friends. So when the world implements their own belief, they strip the parental meaning that the Bible gives. And you got to answer to God at the end. Because he's not going to say what the world says. He's going to say, what did I tell in the word? Regardless if you save or not. It's the basic information of living that is taught. So when we tell God, well, I want to change it to be a friend, then you telling God to hell with you. That's what you're saying. I'm making a statement. Because what God put in there is for us to learn. It's for us to learn. But if we change the format to please the flesh, then you're going to run into problems. I ran into a lot of parents and grandparents who I had to go to court with their children way back before anybody came into my world. And I've heard the judges speak this same language. You're not your children's friend. You are the parent. That's authority. That's a parental authority. You got to know how to do it. If you don't know how, you can ask. How can I be? Because the Bible gives us the instructions, but the world hates the word of God. And that's why we're in so much of a trouble.
All right, let me go to
I appreciate you being honest, because she's like, well, this is how I see it.
I know. It's good. Let's go to a new caller, 0892, because they've been, 0892.
Okay, let me just say this right quick. I just want to make two comments. And the first comment is that today's women are more desperate than ever before. And a man can spot a desperate woman 10 miles away. When you have children, it's no longer about you. It's about your children. Keep these perverted men out your house. If you so hot in the tail and you want to be with these men, you do that outside of your home. And teach your children the characteristics of a perverted spirit, because there are characteristics. And then they'll be able to identify these spirits in these people when they see them. There are characteristics to every spirit that exists. But parents don't, and not just your daughters, you have to teach your son that as well, because they want boys too now. They don't just want girls. But they don't teach them. They don't teach them. These are your breasts. They're not to be touched. They're sacred. This is your vagina. It's not to be touched. It's sacred. I had two godchildren. 3 years old, they were daughters, they were girls. 3 years old, I taught them how to take a bath. I explained all their body parts. At that point, I never bathed them again. I sat on the toilet and watched them. Their moms, I called them and told them, this is what I've taught your daughters. They know all about their body. They know it's sacred. No one's supposed to touch it. They know how to wash their own body because I showed them. They knew that. You have to teach your kids that when you have daughters and sons, unfortunately, you have to teach your sons there are boundaries. You don't go in your sister's room unless you knock. This is her room and this is her space. You have your room, you have your space. Respect her space. And you have to teach your daughter, I don't care who it is, no one gets to touch your sacred parts, because sometimes brothers are predators as well. And you have to teach them that. You have to teach your children that this temple that they call a body is sacred from head to toe, and no one gets to touch it. And another thing, parentship is parentship and friendship is friendship. Friends don't and cannot hold you accountable. Parents can. Friends sit back and watch you self-destruct. And when your children get so comfortable with you thinking that you're friends and you guys are friends, then they'll step over that boundary line. They're supposed to know at all times, no, I am not your friend. I'm never going to be your friend. I am your parent, and I bring the wrath of authority with me. Period. There's nothing else to say about that. I'm not your friend. I'm not drinking with you. I'm not smoking cannabis with you. You're not going to have somebody's daughter in my house, in my room, having sex with them. No, because I won't want it done to my daughter. You have to teach your children that. There are a lot of parents that they'll say, well, my daughter is not going to do this or that, but they'll let their son in their house with somebody else's daughter having sex with her. No, it's not okay. He shouldn't be in there having sex in your house. There has to be boundaries about everything when it comes to parenting. Boundaries. And that's where we as parents of today have lost our way, because we have stepped over the boundary line, smoking cannabis, drinking with our kids. I have seen parents on YouTube with videos where they were making it rain on somebody else's daughter at the strip club with their child. You're throwing money at somebody else's daughter. You have stepped over the boundary line. And the problem with that, Martin, is once you step over the boundary line, there's no backtracking.
Well, let me just say this. I think I had another call. 5625. Did you say something? I didn't. 5625.
No, 5625. I'm waiting to say something.
Okay, go ahead before I speak, because I talk long. Go ahead. 5625. Go. You can say something now. Go ahead.
Here's it. I'm never my son's friend. Period. I am his mother. Even when he has his friends, I'm never his friend. Martin, my mother will not never let me spend the night at nobody's house. And I'm like, why? Like, why? She's like, no. If they had brothers, siblings, she did not allow it. And I could not understand it because I'm a kid. I'm just thinking, like, she don't want me to hang. She don't want me to play. She don't want me to do that. Now I'm older. She was protecting me. Now I have my son. If it ain't family, he can't spend the night at nobody's house. Now your kids will come. It's just me and my son. Ain't no man. But my son cannot spend the night at nobody's house. I'm sorry. He can go to Great America, he can do this, but you got to bring him back home. I'm never my son's friend. My son, 30 years old. His friends is his friends. They can come and eat. They can come and do whatever, but you ain't gonna never see me smoking, drinking, partying. I'm a parent. My mother raised me the same way. The only thing that I did different that I think with my son is that I didn't make him scared to talk to me. I didn't make him scared to say, like, I'm burning, or, you know,
No, you gotta do
whatever.
Right.
Because when it happened, he's like, Mom. I'm like, what? He's like, something ain't right. I'm like, what you mean ain't right? I was like, oh, okay, immediately. But back then, I was scared to talk to my mother. My mother put fear in me. The only thing that I did different is I didn't put fear in my son. If he wanted to do something, we'd talk about it. We had a routine because it's always been me and him. When he told me that morning, Mom, I need to go to the doctor. Mark, when I tell you I was so proud, I said, what? And you know what, Mark? I get up, I put my clothes on, I took him to the little red schoolhouse, and he got sick. But he's able to come and talk to me. You want to know why? I'm not his friend. I'm his mother. I'm not his friend's friend. This, and not that. It's boundaries.
I want to say this real quick.
Even now.
Let me say
Go
something real
ahead.
quick. I know of a situation, a female friend of mine, she got grown children, and they play tonk together, spades and drinking and toss and all that. Now, one out of the bunch is a devil. They had a couple of times physical altercation. I mean, she liked friends with him. I mean, she had him young and, hey. But I'm saying this to say this. One of her children crossed the line. Crossed the line. One of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a sure sign that we can prevent. It's a learning lesson. I'm speaking as a grandfather now. I'm a grandfather. Once a husband. And I see things. I'm a alpha male, if I may say that. And it's a respect. I give each and every one of my children respect. Give them their space. They grown. Some of them smoke weed. Some of them drink. I never did any of those things. They do it. What could I say? Sometime if they come to the park, they might have them drink. That's on them. I'm not drinking with them. They know it. You better not ask me to buy you no drink. You better not ask me to buy you no weed. And I never do that because we don't get out like that. And we're going to respect each other as adults, and then we're going to carry ourselves. And so not only that I demand respect, I give it to them. I ain't got to be screaming, hollering. I ain't never cussed at none of my children. And I believe the oldest one is like 27. Never in lifetime. Never said a swearing word at them. That's just how much respect I demand, and I give it. Now, I'm not going to get on here and say that I always have been a perfect parent. I would never say that. But one thing I can tell you, I've always respected my children and kept that relationship of father and a son or daughter relationship. I remember one time when my children, all of them got put out. The mother put all of them out. And they needed some groceries. So they called me. So I said, this is that thing again. So she called me when my oldest daughter called me. I said, well, what's going on? Well, Mom put the rest of the, one of them had their own place, put the rest of them out. I said, okay. They was all grown at this time. So I said, well, okay, well, it's just me and my baby boyfriend. We didn't have enough food over here. I said, okay, no problem. I said, well, at that time I was getting a link card. So I got a link card, fresh at $200 some on there. I said, well, I'll bring this card and y'all can get this card and buy. I said, but I'm going to tell y'all something now, all y'all grown. I'm going to do this one time, not 2 times, one time. And so we went on, friend took me out there and we all went shopping. My daughter she was grabbing food, the oldest daughter, and turning, so I couldn't see the price. I said, no matter what the price tag is, don't worry about it. Get what you guys need. And I'm going to do this one time. Now you're on your own now. Y'all grown now. So I want y'all to prove to me that you're grown. And I ain't never had that problem again. They handle their business. I told them I'll do it one time. And as they being my children, I reached for them and they was all grown. But this is how adults get down. When you become an adult, you have to fend for yourself. I am not obligated as your father to help you out. And I'm going to do this one time. One of them had food, but 3 of them didn't have nothing. Y'all got cell phones you spending. Nobody have no money to buy no food. And that's what I told him. I sat them all down and talked to them.
But no.
But I'm just saying, I talked with all of them and I told them, I'm going to do this one time and no more. And I ain't never had no problem after that. And if they ever went hungry out there, I couldn't tell y'all. It wasn't my burden no more. But as a father, I did step in. That's my testimony, y'all. And I understand.
What I understand from your testimony, they couldn't bring to your house what they were doing at the mama's house.
You know it.
Now you said the mama put them out.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't try to bring that to your house. They understood that Daddy ain't going for it. Let's just tell Daddy to like give us some groceries for us to, to last, until they get their stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Oh yeah, it's certain things I didn't tolerate. One thing I didn't tolerate: a lot of people running in and out the house, them spending the night over people's houses. I didn't play that.
Yeah, flop house.
Sitting in people's laps and all that. Oh no, I didn't play none of that. No. Staying out all night long. Well, I'm with so and so, and if I had relatives that I knew that was about their life and didn't run a strict household like I did, y'all can't go over there. I'm sorry. Them your first. You can't go over there. No, I don't want you hanging with them. I said, this is what I used to tell my children. Right now, you're going to hate me in the beginning, but at the end, you're going to love me because you understood. That's what I told them. You're going to hate me right now. I know it. You're going to think I'm the meanest man in the world. But when you get older, boy, you're going to thank me, hug me, and kiss me and say, Dad, you was right. And, okay.
I want to speak on this real quick.
Go ahead, my brother.
I appreciate
Go ahead.
I just want to speak on this friendship stuff real quick.
Go ahead.
So my father had me when he was 26 years old. And growing up, I don't ever remember having a conversation regarding how I feel, my opinions. It was pretty much just straight orders. Take out the garbage, do that. It was like a drill sergeant. He never had no dad, so I can't fault him for not knowing what to do, but he knew he had to be present. As I got older, we were able to begin to talk about sports and women in life. But it took him raising me first. And he had to teach me the skills of how to budget money and how to fend for myself and different things like he had raising to do. There was no time to be a friend because I have to raise you in order for you to be an independent adult in this world. As I moved out of the house, we began to talk more and develop a friendship-like parent-son type of relationship. But understand, he still got 26 years on me. Regardless, he's been on this earth 26 more years. I still don't curse in front of him. I still look at him as my elder. I still have that same level of respect as I always had. And he is not my peer. I am not his peer. That ain't never gonna change. Regardless of how closer we became, again, we still have that degree of separation and that level of respect. And I raised my daughter the exact same way. Yeah, we can be friendly. We can laugh and joke, but I can't be your friend because I'm gonna have to discipline you. I'm gonna have to check you because you're not young enough to be able to manage this life on your own right now. So if I'm your friend, you're gonna get mixed emotions about it. I can't play both. I got to be one or the other, and I'm gonna opt to be the parent. So when I hear a parent say they want to be a friend, that lets me know that they're trying to defer their responsibility off to someone else. So if you want to be a friend, that means you don't want to take on the responsibilities of having to be a parent because you can't do both. You got to choose. You know what I'm saying? It's not no game right here. And again, you're going to have to check one of your kids and they're not going to be able to receive it because they're looking at you as a friend. So they're going to want to go upside your head. But if you're a parent, discipline is a level of affection. It's another level of showing love. So if you don't show them that love consistently and on a regular basis, they're not going to know how to receive it. Mm-hmm. Your friend's not going to discipline you. They may try to tell you something, but they can't discipline you. But when a parent do it, it's fixed. But you can't give your kids mixed messages because they don't know, okay, is this the parent side? Is this the friend? I don't know how to take this, how to receive this. My child not confused. She know what it is. again, I can be friendly, and as she gets older, I hope to be able to coexist with her on a more adult level to respect her as an adult. But understand, I got 27 years on you. Don't ever forget that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's that type of respect.
So can I say something? Can I say something, please?
Yeah, let us say something. Go ahead.
So I just want to come back on this because I want
Go
to
ahead.
make sure everybody don't get misconstrued what I was trying to say. So I would have to say the gentleman basically said it the way I was trying to say it. I didn't so much mean a friendship, but I do have a friendly relationship, and my children are grown. But as you said, when they were little, and they even understand that now. So everything that everybody said, the respect, the order, that is exactly how the order is. But I do have a friendlier relationship with them. And like he said, being able to coexist even when your children become an adult. So I just want to make sure to clear that up. I know that I'm not one of their peers, but I'm saying that that is the closeness that I have with them, but I don't get the disrespect. They can't cuss around me. I don't drink and hang out with them. There's order in my home. So I just wanted to clarify that. So I agree with everything each one of you said, and I may have said it in a way, but that's what I basically meant, what he just said, a friendly relationship with them. I do have that with my children.
That's understood.
Martin, another thing to implement is, young people, do not leave home before your time. Everything that you get when you're growing up, from the time that you're a newborn until it is time for you to go into the real world. The reason I say this, Martin, because when a lot of teenagers that come from good homes and still want to act rebellious, miss out on a lot of things of teaching that they would need to understand how to grow up. Some of them would be rebellious, and because their spirit of pride keeps them, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't care what I say. I don't feel like it. But then when you get out there in the reality of the world, then everything about family values, everything about relationships and marriage, you are going to be crazy retarded. It's going to be backwards. And your theory is going to play into what you believe, and it's not what you were raised upon. Don't be so quick to leave home. Get all that you need to get. When you go to high school and you graduate, go to college, take the teachings that your parent or parents instilled into you. I was at home till I was 21. I did not wild out with my parents and say, I'm going to leave home because I want to go. No, because there was teaching that I needed that would carry me to where I am right now. So take your time.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think that's enough said, it's enough said. I understood everybody. I appreciate you guys' comments. I've been on here 2 hours and 28 minutes. And listen, this is a great discussion. It's one that is needed. I appreciate everybody for calling in and speaking their truth, as I always say. And we see things different. We're not calling each other out names. And I like that about this show. We don't have to call each other dumb and stupid or crazy or not. I'm glad that we don't do that on here at all. But we can disagree and we still can love each other. We don't see eye to eye, all of us. I don't know everything. I ain't all knowing. Hey, I get it wrong sometime too. So hey, it is what it is. And sometimes when I speak on here, I speak out of pure experience. I believe we all love our children. We want to see the best for them, and we want to respect them, and we want them to respect us. And just appreciate y'all. That's all I want to say. Thank y'all for all the comments. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm out of here.
You already know what it is.
What is it?
Live, uncut,
and
unedited.
And this is where we what?
Tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
Shame the devil.
Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I
love being black.
I love being black. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night.